Man, I just had a technological difficulty that wasn't even a technological difficulty. Rather interesting. So I started going live, and I did not have my I didn't have my microphone in front of me. And because I didn't have the microphone in front of me, I like go grab it real quick, and then I hit one of the buttons on my soundboard. So I'm sitting here thinking, "Oh, I'm not talking," because I couldn't hear myself in the headphones. And I love to hear myself in the headphones. It's crazy, probably narcissistic. Sue me. But because of that, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this because it's not working. And lo and behold, I was talking just fine. And yeah. So apologies to anybody who clicks on the YouTube page and sees that. Luckily I got off in like 37 seconds, but it's not really the way we want to start an episode. But I just had to get that out there because it's a nice, easy way to warm up. I should have some nice American music for y'all to talk about. Proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. But I gave y'all that for after the Boston Celtics won the NBA Finals. And so we're not going to repeat that again. So we're just going to sit here. We're going to have a nice conversation. And happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to those of you who celebrate it. I'm going to hop on the grill tomorrow, probably drink some nice domestic American beer. And maybe smoke a cigar if I don't smoke one tonight. We'll see. So I want to start this podcast by talking about a very strong American value, nepotism. We might be the land of the free and the home of the brave, but like in paragraph B, part 2.4, we're definitely a country of nepotism. So let's define nepotism before we even get into this discussion. Nepotism is defined as the practice amongst those with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs. Nepotism. I don't have a problem with it. Think about this. Our parents crawl that we can walk, and we walk so that our kids can run. And that's what LeBron did. We act like we don't like it in sports because we think that sports is a meritocracy. But if you've been on a sports team, you know it's not truly a meritocracy. Think about baseball. Coach's son, pitcher, shortstop, usually has a prime spot in the batting order, makes the all-star team, gets all the opportunities. Football, coach's son, quarterback, middle linebacker, glamour position, and gets the chance. It's not like we do open tryouts, especially when you're talking about younger kids, and that's where it starts because you play these positions over years because of the opportunities that's given to you. But it's not like they go out there, hey, let's test out our skills and put the best player at this spot. No. They put the person they want there, coach's son, friend of the coach, and that's just how it works. And you can even think about maybe you're in high school, maybe college, hell, maybe in professional. You have a personality conflict with a coach. So because of your personality conflict, your talents don't get the opportunity to be put on Front Street, or you bond well with the coach, or your parent is close with the coach. So you get more opportunities to play. You get more opportunities to make mistakes. You have a longer leash. That is very prevalent in sports culture from the very beginning. But we want to act like it's not a thing. It doesn't exist at the professional levels. It's not true. And I understand we want to live in a world where we think everything, where things are fair, but it's not. We don't have a problem with an owner passing his team down to his or her kids. We don't have a problem with a CEO giving the company over to a family member. But we have a problem with a player getting his son a job. Now let's think about this. NBA players are labor. They're not ownership. They are labor. So when you think about the hierarchy of the league, and I understand the money is different because the labor gets paid more than the coach and the executives and all of that stuff, but they are on the bottom floor of the hierarchy. They are the labor, the product. They're not management who builds the team. They're not the coach who advises the players, sets the strategy, and they're not the owner who cuts the checks. They are labor, just like many of us are at our jobs. How many of us have put in a good word to get a friend hired at a job? We know we had a little bit of clout where we're working at. Our word is respected. So we say, hey, man, get that person a shot. They may not have the best resume. They may not be the most qualified. But because we put in our word and we said that they could fill the role and they could do it, they got hired. Same thing. Same thing. And if we're going to keep it on sports, think about coaching. Think about front offices. Hell, I can look at the Hawks right now. Tony Ressler, the owner of the Hawks, allows his son to run the franchise. What qualifications does his son have to run the franchise? I'll wait. Oh, yeah, he's the owner's son. So if we don't have a problem with owners letting their kids run a team, why do we have a problem with players putting in a good word so their kids can be on the team? It doesn't make sense. And heck, a report came out today saying that Bronny is going to spend a lot of time in the G League, but he has a fully guaranteed contract, so he's good. So if everybody's doing it, why can't athletes do it? Is it because it's getting in the way of the integrity of the game? No. Is there a racial component behind it that may make some people feel uncomfortable? Maybe. Or is it that you have a problem with nepotism because it's not benefiting you, it's benefiting someone else? Because while you're sitting here, how many of you would turn down the opportunity to achieve a lifelong goal, to make millions of dollars because you felt like you weren't qualified, but somebody put in a good word for you and they got you that opportunity? I bet you nobody who hears this would turn that opportunity down. And if it were you in that opportunity, given that opportunity, you wouldn't shame the person or criticize the person who gave you that opportunity. But because it's not you, you have a problem with nepotism. Nobody has a problem with nepotism when they're receiving it. They just have a problem with it because somebody else is receiving it. I think some people felt like they were good enough to make it to the NBA, and they didn't. So they're upset. Oh, if my coach would have just believed in me and gave me chances. Oh, man, this and that. Oh, if I just would have known somebody. Let's just think about our world as a whole. Do you think the most talented music artists are the artists who get the most shine? Or is it the ones with talent that get discovered? Do you think the most talented mechanic makes the most money? Or is it the mechanic who got the opportunity to work at the best shop? Do you think the most talented coders are coding at Google or coding for Apple? Some of them, yeah. But there are also capable coders who aren't there because they just weren't discovered. And there are other maybe capable, less than capable, or more than capable coders there because their dad worked for the company. They had a good friend who works for the company. They know someone in management. So it happens all over our life. It happens all over the world in everyone's lives. But why do we have a problem with it when it's sports? And thinking about sports, there's a human aspect to it. It's humans playing a game. You know, referees are human. Referees don't make every call correctly because it's called human error. Some players get more leeway than others because of their rapport with the officials. Some players get more leeway than others because of their style of play. I wouldn't necessarily call that nepotism, but it's a form of favoritism, which then takes the fairness out of it, right? But we're looking for fair. And if Chris Paul is a basketball player who's uber aggressive on defense, very handy, very physical, likes to foul, but they don't want to foul him out the game because he's a star player. That's not fair either. So where do you draw the line? Allen Iverson, maybe not the most favorite player by the referees. Draymond Green, Rasheed Wallace. Do they always get called fairly? Do they get the benefit of the doubt? No. You know why? Because their rapport was different with the referees. That's not fair. LeBron James doesn't foul out of basketball games. Why? He's a superstar. He gets the benefit of the doubt. Is that fair? MJ would get the makeup call. Kobe get the makeup call. If a superstar tells the referee, hey, man, he's fouling me. He's riding my hip super hard. Pause. They get the benefit of the doubt. Is that fair? The referee didn't necessarily see it, but somebody who had some clout told him. Now, what happens if the ninth man off the bench says, hey, man, he's holding me? I ain't see it. We keep it pushing. What happens when in a football game when the referee spot the ball wrong, go do the challenge, they get it wrong? It's not fair. So why do we have a problem with something that's not fair when the Lakers use a 55th pick on LeBron James' son? You tell me how many superstars, how many impact players have been the 55th pick, and I'll tell you most of them are either overseas or selling insurance. Now, you got AI. Imagine you getting replaced at your job by AI. Or imagine you getting a pay cut because artificial intelligence is doing your job. Because the company's job is to make money and provide the best product or service that they can. But you want to keep your job and you want to keep your salary, right? And because your supervisor or the CEO likes you, you get to keep your job and they don't allow the computer to do your job. That's not fair, is it? That may not even be in the best interest of the company to keep you. Just like drafting Bronny may not be in the best interest of the Lakers because maybe they could have found another player who could help them immediately. I doubt it, but it's possible. What's the difference? It's only different because it's sports. And the people who have a problem with nepotism in sports are the same people who want to say, shut up and dribble. Hey, LeBron, don't put your son on. No, just go out there and play basketball. And I've talked about shut up and dribble here, and at times I do think it's applicable. But what I've learned through that is it's not about shut up and dribble. It's about sticking to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. And I like that one so much better because it's if you know, you know. But if you don't, shut up. Because if I just tell you to shut up and dribble, that means you only know basketball. or I'm saying you only know basketball, so that's all you should do, or you only know football, or you only know singing, or you only know auto mechanic and not aviation mechanic. You only know how to cut grass, but you don't know how to weed eat because that's what you primarily do. I'm going to say stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to, because you can have experience in other places. And because you're used to those rivers and lakes, we should go swimming. The second apron. Parlay Pete and I came on here and talked about the issues with the NBA. We talked about the issues with the Players Association. We talked about the issues with the owners. We talked about how the NBA could never become the NFL because the players have too much power, guaranteed contracts, all of this and that, right? And this is not talking about players not getting paid. It's more focused on the television product, the teams, and those important things that we really care about in sports. You know, falling in love with a team. But now we have the second apron that's going to take effect, and we're already seeing how it's affecting teams. The Nuggets lose KCP. Why? They don't want to be in the second apron. They don't want to be restricted. So now they're being punished for being able to build a great team. We see the Warriors move off of Klay Thompson. They've been paying a big tax bill. But now with the second apron, there's more restrictions that come with paying that big tax bill. And not just restrictions for that one season, but restrictions that can have a huge, huge effect on how you build your team in the future. You got the Celtics. They're acting like the second apron doesn't exist with the amount of money that they're giving out, but the owner wants to sell the team. So what does that tell you? Let me get out while the getting is good. So the NBA wanted to make it harder to build a super team. But what I think the Players Association and the owners and the commissioner and everybody involved with coming up with this first apron and the second apron failed to realize is you're now punishing teams for building great teams. And I'm not just talking about the teams who build through free agency like the Lakers. I'm talking about a homegrown team like the Celtics. They draft 2 cornerstone players. They make smart trades, smart signings to build a champion. I'm talking about a team like the Nuggets who built their franchise around 2 homegrown players, made some smart trades, made some great free agency pickups, and now they're champions. I'm talking about teams like the Warriors, 3 homegrown players, good trades, good free agency signing, great development. And now they have to make business decisions because they want to be able to compete in the future. And to me, it sounds like a bunch of nerds who didn't really understand sports coming up with these ideas. It sounds like the owners who can't ever win because they don't want to spend the money, or they don't generate the money, or they are in a terrible market trying to level the playing field. Again, it goes back to the fairness and why we don't like nepotism. We want everything to be fair. Well, guess what? Life's not fair. And I'm not on a quest to make life fair for everybody or even for me. My goal is to learn the rules and play the game and be one of the best at it. So whatever that takes, that's what I want to do. So yeah, now we're going to get some parity in the NBA, but guess what? Players are going to be changing teams just like they were in the player empowerment era, but it's not going to be the players empowering themselves to leave. It's going to be the teams empowering themselves to get rid of them. So now I don't know what Jimmy Butler jersey to buy. I don't know what Kristaps Porzingis jersey to buy. Because the second I buy the jersey, oh, man, traded. Oh, man, released. Oh, man, I can't rally behind this dynasty because it's going to be broken up before we even get a dynasty. Guess what NBA fans like? The clash of the Titans. We like LeBron versus Steph. We like Magic versus Larry. We like Larry versus MJ. We like Larry versus Isaiah Thomas. We like Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas. We like Michael Jordan versus the Showtime Lakers. That's what we like. We like dynasties. We like, oh my God, are the Orlando Rockets about to, or not Orlando Rockets, the Orlando Magic about to build a dynasty and take down the Bulls? We like Kobe and Shaq versus Tim Duncan. We like the old Spurs dynasty circling back one time to attack the Heatles. That's what we like. But under the second apron, we're not going to get it. And maybe it does level out the playing field for the bottom tier teams and the bad owners. That just creates a bad product. And I've talked about this before on this platform. It's so crazy that capitalistic owners who want to be capitalists in every part of running their team, they want to pay their labor as little as they can to get as much as they can out of them. But they want socialist principles when it comes to overall winning. They want socialist principles when it comes to revenue sharing. It's like, oh no, we got to split up this pot evenly. Not you make what you earn. But they want the players to make what they earn. You see how crazy that is? You see the hypocrisy there? Oh, I'll bring my son on, or I'll bring one of my friends on. I'll put him on the bench as an assistant coach. Oh, I'll bring him in to be a scout. Oh, I'll bring him in to work in the front office, be an executive. Oh, I'll let my son run the team. But I don't want my players to do the same. I want to be a cutthroat capitalist when it comes to paying labor. But I don't want to be a cutthroat capitalist when it comes to me getting paid. When it comes to me attracting talent. Oh, I need to be good at my job to maximize my funds. Oh, no. We're going to end up in the black every year. Rev share. The Lakers, the Warriors, the Knicks, the Celtics, they're going to make enough money for us all. I get it. That's how they became billionaires. Most of them. But a lot of them. They became billionaires because they came out of their mama. Because their daddy already had it. Oh, man. But hey, man, the Celts are for sale. Shout out to the Celts for striking while the iron's hot. I think that the second apron has a lot to do with this because of the amount of money that they'd be paying in order to be a winner. And they bought a team for like, I know less than 400,000, somewhere in the, or excuse me, 400 million, somewhere in the 300 million range. And now they're going to sell it for somewhere between $5 and $7 billion. Can't tell them they're wrong. You've made money annually off of the investment, and now you can flip that investment for I don't know how many times that is, but many times. Good for them. No one wants to be a Laker. And I've been sitting here trying to think about why no one would want to be a Laker. Is it LeBron? Is it JJ? Is it Rob? Or is it Jeannie? So here's what I decided to do. I decided to make a blame pie. And I used fairly easy percentage numbers to break this down, but I got a four-way blame pie for it. Why no one wants to be a Laker. Let's start with LeBron. I give LeBron 12.5%. Why? He's older. You don't really. He just re-signed for 2 years for the max. He has a unique style of play that doesn't always bring out the best in really good players because they have to adjust their game to him, and he's not shown that he's going to adjust his game to a large degree to anybody else. I give another 12.5 to JJ. Why? Rookie coach, never coached before. He's brand new. But shout out to him for bringing in Nate McMillan and Scotty Brooks to sit on his bench. I think they'll definitely help him out with the in-game adjustments and the and substitution patterns and the important in-game stuff. Because I don't think anybody worth their salt questions JJ as a big picture coach with a vision and a style of play that they think will be successful in the NBA. I don't think that's an issue there. It's just how will he manage the in-game stuff? How will he manage the egos? How will he manage ball distribution? How will he manage substitution patterns? Stuff like that. Real shit. So I only give him 12.5. Now, Rob Pelinka gets 25%. And Rob Pelinka gets 25% because apparently he couldn't get Klay Thompson on the phone. He couldn't get a meeting with him. The only deal that he's made worth a damn that we care about is the Anthony Davis deal that Magic Johnson had set up. But the difference between Rob's deal and Magic's deal, Magic was going to keep BI and move Kuzma, and Rob moved Kuzma. Moved BI and kept Kuzma. But guess what? BI made an all-star game and plays at an all-star level when healthy. So again, he made a good move. He got him a championship, but the move could have been better. Maybe. And then we blame Rob Pelinka for the LeBron James move, for the Russell Westbrook move, or we put that blame on LeBron instead of on Rob Pelinka, but ultimately Rob Pelinka is the one who pulls the strings. And he's shown the propensity to tell LeBron no. So, yeah, that's what LeBron wanted. But this isn't me caping for LeBron. This is me shitting on Rob Pelinka. So I give Rob Pelinka 25%. GD Bus, you get 50. You are the problem with the Lakers. Because as the owner, you set the culture. You make the hires. You make the fires. I mean, since LeBron's been there, Luke Walton, Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham, now JJ Redick. But have you looked at Rob? Have you said, Rob, I can't fire myself. I could say it, but I can't fire myself. Rob, you're not doing what we need from you. And because she allows Rob, a first-time GM, first-time president of basketball operations, somebody who's in the family, Kobe's agent, former agent, lets him run the team and appears to be running him in the dirt and escaping any type of criticism. Yeah, I'm sure he's in your office often. I'm sure y'all have cocktails together. I'm sure y'all go to the country club together. So y'all have that great rapport and y'all built rapport over the years. But because you allow this man to run your franchise into the dirt, I give you 50% of the blame. Now let's talk about it. So free agency is active right now. LeBron said that he would be willing to take a pay cut if they made moves on some players. Valanciunas being one of them, Klay Thompson being another. Well, Valanciunas signed for 3 years, 30 with the Washington Wizards. What are we doing here? Klay goes to Dallas and Rob can't even get a meeting with him, can't get him on the phone. What are we doing here? Nobody wants to be a Laker because you're running a mom and pop shop. You want people to be proud to be proud that the Lakers want them instead of being happy that they come to you. This ain't the 80s or the early 2000s. You're not who you once were. You are who you are, and you appear to be a dysfunctional franchise ran by an incompetent owner who's being advised by the incompetent Rambis family, who has an incompetent president of basketball operations. And the only reason that you're relevant and competent is because you have LeBron James, who also hand-delivered Anthony Davis to you. Y'all should thank Rich Paul. Hell, y'all should put Rich Paul on payroll. You might save some money. Because Rich Paul is the reason for y'all season. It's not y'all. But because it's the brand, it's the Lakers. It's LA. It's Sunset. It's Beverly Hills. It's Malibu. It's the beach. It's the taco truck. It's the baddies. It's the best city in the world to be famous in because so many people here are famous. Oh, you should be proud to be a Laker. No. Y'all ain't running a proud organization. You run through coaches like I run through draws. But y'all want to keep it tight inner circle. Guess what? Your inner circle ain't good. Staying loyal to someone only matters if that person is providing you what you need. I've made friends and I've lost friends. And you know why I lost some friends? It wasn't because of lack of loyalty. It's because they were no longer giving. Ain't that what y'all say? No longer giving. They did not provide for me what I needed in a friendship for at that time in my life. So you know what I did? I said, yeah, no. Well, I ain't had no conversation with him. I just stopped talking to him, ghost mode. It's just like, yeah, nah, bro, love you. Can't rock with you. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. Jeannie Buzz. Hey, Kurt, whatever your wife's name is, I know we got all these years in, grew up in this thing together. But you know what? Y'all ain't rocking. Hey, Rob, I know we worked all these years together with Kobe being here, you being his agent, and you coming back. We got 20 years in this thing now. But you're not performing well enough, and you're passing the buck on everybody else here. It can't just be the coaches. At some point, it has to be the construction of the roster. And guess what? You construct the roster. And guess what? You hire the staff. You oversee that staff that constructs this roster. You hire the coaches. Yeah. I took your advice because that's your job, to run my operation. You've got to go. But nobody wants to be the Lakers because the Lakers are a dumpster fire. And who the hell wants to go jump in a dumpster fire? For one, you're going to burn up. Two, it's trash. Like, just think about it. Trash, the stuff we get rid of, is on fire. The thing we get away from. So if we get rid of trash and we run away from fire and the Lakers are a dumpster fire, why in the world would anybody want to go there? Why? That's stupid. So until the Lakers put the fire out, then call Waste Management to come dump this dumpster out, people are going to keep running. Now, maybe they make a move to get DeMar DeRozan on a sign and trade. But if the plan is to run it back with LeBron, AD, D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Vando, that's a dog that don't bark. That's a horse that don't trot. That's a gun that don't shoot. It's a condom with a hole in it. The botch BBL. Oh, man. I gotta pull up to that one, y'all. I've got to pull up to that one. Woo! Feeling like Ric Flair in this thing. Well, it's official. The Warriors dynasty is over. And like all dynasties, they don't end pretty. There's no just walking off into the sunset. Klay Thompson signed a 3-year, $50 million contract with the Dallas Mavericks. But if we think about it, the Warriors dynasty has been on shaky ground for a little while. Whether it's injuries, whether it's the departure of Kevin Durant, not making the playoffs. This is not really Woj. DeMar has not been traded. What? Hold on. Let me see if this really exists, because this is somebody saying that they're Woj. And I don't really believe it. Give me 1 second. Let me hop on X real quick. Let's see. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew this was nonsense. I knew this was total nonsense, but let me just humor this right here. It would be nice if DeMar DeRozan was traded there. Yep, this is all fraud. This is all fraud. You know, I don't know who you are posing as Woj up here in the comments, but you didn't get me, buddy. You didn't get me. You almost had me here thinking I got some breaking news from Woj, and I'm like, why is Woj on my timeline? All right. Anyways, end of an era. We know these things happen. All good things come to an end. But yeah, let's just look at the Warriors dynasty. When you talk about them winning the championship in 2018, they said it was tough. It was a rough season. Then you go through 2019 and they end up losing to the Raptors after injury to Klay Thompson, who tore his ACL during the finals, and Kevin Durant, who had an injured calf muscle, but then end up tearing his Achilles while trying to come back. You had the Draymond and KD incident that both of them admitted it was handled wrong by the franchise. They tried to force them to reconcile when it's like, hey man, we grown men, we'll do this on our own time, which I totally agree with. But I do understand the franchise trying to mend that fence as soon as possible. Many people think that the Warriors did Klay wrong by not bringing him back. Well, you know what? This is a business first, and to them, the money didn't make sense. Some people go, Klay should be grateful because they paid him for those 2 years he was out. Hey, yeah, they didn't plan for the second injury. And it's like, well, if you come back from this ACL, you'll be good. But again, things happen. But men have pride. Men have pride. And the thing about men having pride, it's one of the best and worst things that we can have, because our pride can make us the best of the best at what we do, but it can have us disillusioned in a way that we don't realize that we're not who we once were. I'm telling you, as a prideful man, sometimes I have to remind myself, you're not who you once were. You ain't the same Adam you used to be. You're a different guy. You can't just get up and go play 7 games of pickup and be fine the next day. You can't go out on a night on the town with the boys and think you're going to wake up and do it again the next day. No, big dog. You need to drink water. And that comes with age. Klay Thompson, you don't move left or right in that defensive stance like you used to. That's what got you there. But that's what also got you to Dallas. And read articles about Klay's pride, feeling disrespected, getting moved to the bench. And it's like, hey, man, because you're not who you once were. But when you talk about the people aspect of it, it's, oh, man, his pride's hurt, man. He's out of here. Not coming off the bench. Are you crazy? But Bob, I look at Bob Myers right now. Bob Myers, the smooth criminal. Because Bob said, you know what? Damn an extension. I'm out of here. I go talk to Stephen A. Smith. Let me tell you what, if somebody turns down millions of dollars to do what they're great at, to probably more than likely make less millions to talk to Stephen A. Smith, you got to know that hell is on the way. So he didn't have to negotiate the Draymond contract. He didn't have to make the tough decision on Klay. He got out scot-free. But what we should have taken away from Bob leaving is, oh, yeah, this shit's over. And I know there are some of you out here who say Draymond shouldn't get paid, but guess what? Draymond really hasn't fallen off. Yeah, he couldn't shoot the 3. He doesn't shoot the 3 now the way that he used to, but he lost that a while ago. But he's still a top defensive player. He's still a top post passer, offensive facilitator. What made Klay Thompson so great was that he was an amazing two-way player. He played great defense and he knocked down shots. Now, don't get me wrong. His points per game went down. He averaged 18 on 39% from 3. So it's not, he's still shooting at a high clip, but his defense isn't the same. Whereas Draymond, his antics, the stuff that we see may be worse. It may be a bit outlandish, but he's still a hell of a basketball player. But see, winning cures all. And the Warriors weren't winning. The Warriors aren't winning. So you're damn right Klay is going to be feeling some type of way about having to come off the bench. Not closing out games. Especially if you lose the games you didn't close out. Oh, you didn't want me to play because of this? But no, come on now. That's how this shit works. Remember when Kevin Durant came, Klay said, I ain't giving up no shots. I ain't giving up no shots. Damn who KD is. I'm not giving up no shots. I don't knock him for it because he's Himothy. Part of the greatest shooting backcourt of all time, arguably the greatest backcourt of all time. But we're going to see how this looks because the grass isn't always greener. The Mavs didn't draft Klay. The Mavs didn't spend 13 years with Klay. They don't know Klay. They're getting to know Klay. And hopefully they can mold that Klay into a nice pot. Actually, they can mold that Klay into a nice ring. That's what they want to do. They want to take Klay. They want to take Klay and mold him with Luka and Kyrie and Gafford and PJ Washington and Derek Lively and make a ring. Rings and things, you know. But the grass isn't always greener. And what's so eye-opening about this, you talk about Klay being low maintenance, whereas other players are high maintenance and they talk bad about him. He was low maintenance while he was winning championships. How many players come off as high maintenance when they're winning versus players whose teams may not be reaching the player's goals. So yeah, they become high maintenance. It's funny how we drive narratives about people without giving context to the situation that they're in. Some could say Clay's being selfish. He should just take the contract they offer him, or take where he's at in the pecking order. He should go to the bench. Y'all wanted Allen Iverson to go to the bench, right? Y'all said, oh, yeah, Allen Iverson ain't who he used to be. He should come off the bench. Allen Iverson couldn't lick the dirt off of Clay's cleats. Excuse me. Whoa. Pause. I'm tripping. Klay Thompson can't lick the dirt off of Allen Iverson's cleats. What are we talking about? We want AI to go to the bench. Klay Thompson couldn't lick the dirt off of Russell Westbrook's cleats. Who give a damn if Klay got 4 rings? But we said Russ need to go to the bench. Why is Klay above going to the bench? See, that's the problem. He'd already been in the kiln. Klay had already been put in the kiln, been polished up. So now he's hardened. Not James, but he's hardened. And the Warriors couldn't shape and mold him anymore to be who they needed him to be, because he is who he is. He was who he was. And they got rid of him just because he couldn't be molded anymore. So I'll tell you all in life, never get to the point to where you've been put in that kiln. Don't let them put you in the kiln. Don't let them permanently mold you into what you are. You always got to be adaptable. You know, you just because you're not who you once were doesn't mean you can't maximize who you are today. And sometimes maximizing who you are today is taking a step back. Sometimes a step back helps you take a step forward. Remember the infamous Reggie Bush juke against Fresno State? That was a back juke. He didn't go forward in that moment to advance on that play and score that touchdown. He stepped back, let the defense go by so he could go forward. Now, I do think the Warriors misread the room. The fact that they did not prioritize Klay's re-signing. They say, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this first before we get to your extension, which tells him not a priority. And I'll tell this to you all, man. When it comes to dating, because they're playing the same games that people be playing in dating. Oh, I ain't gonna text back right now. I don't want to look thirsty. Oh, I'm gonna make you wait 3 days after I got a number. Oh, now I'm gonna play hard to get with this dude because I don't want him thinking I'm easy. Now, just be upfront. Be who you are. Tell somebody what you want from them. You know what? Every time you make a deal, every time you interact with somebody, it's not about coming out on top. It's about finding the mutual interest and running with that. Hey, if you're interested in Shawty, tell her. Hey, young lady, if you're interested in old boy, tell him. If you feel like you catching feelings too early, let somebody know. Because now we're playing on an even playing field. Now guess what? We got fairness. Let's circle back to that. Yeah, we got fairness. And we're operating in a place where we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page, and hopefully we're working towards a mutual goal. We're not working under false pretenses. And if we're not working towards a mutual goal, we now know that, so we can make a decision, an informed decision on what to do next. Because I don't want to play no games. I ain't giving out my last name. It's already given out. Because she got it. She got it. She got it. But I don't know if I could come off the bench for Pajinski either, Clay. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. What else we got in WNBA? Clippers are cursed. The clip show is cursed. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a brief intermission while I use the bathroom. All right, I'm back. Curse of the Clippers. Clippers might be the most cursed franchise in NBA history. Donald Sterling stripped them from the great city of San Diego and was a slumlord, didn't want to pay players, and they ain't been right ever since. Yes, they've had exciting teams. Yes, they've had playoff teams, but you know what? They just never gotten over the hump because God don't like ugly. Let me take that back. I ain't going to speak for God, but based on my observation, God ain't rocking. Anyways, Paul George walked away from the Clippers. They got nothing for him, and now he is a Philadelphia 76er. And we'll talk about that shortly. But let's just think about the summer of 2019 when the earth moved. Literally, there was an earthquake in LA. I was there. When Kawhi Leonard and Paul George became Clippers. We run this city, the new LA, the Clip Show. Same old Flip Show. Y'all getting clipped and cursed and clipped. The curse of the Clips. Season 1, we go to the bubble. We had a lemon pepper loose situation. The Clippers players weren't focused. Apparently, Doc was playing a bunch of golf and not focused on winning. And what happens? Denver comes back from 3-1 to win the series in typical Doc fashion. You deal with Paul George injuries. You deal with Kawhi injuries all throughout, and they've not had a complete playoff run. Even when they made the Eastern Conference Finals, Kawhi Leonard wasn't there to finish out that series. Typical Clipper stuff. You give up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a boatload of draft picks, Danilo Gallinari to pick up Paul George. Now, mind you, I don't knock the Clippers for making this deal because guess what? Kawhi said he ain't coming if he ain't got PG with him. It makes perfect sense. We didn't think Shai was going to turn into like 36-5. We didn't think Shai was going to be a first team All NBA. But he did. And we also don't know that Shai gets the opportunity to play next to Chris Paul, one of the greatest point guards of all time, a great mentor, to help him become a better pro. We don't know that these things are going to happen, but they did. And guess what we have? The Clippers getting fleeced on a deal, not winning a ring, and Paul George walking out of the door. Never meant to cause you no pain. Well, things are the same because it's the Clippers not winning. And he couldn't make things right before he walked out of their life. It is what it is. But what does this say about the Clippers? No matter what they do, it just won't work. Then stories come out that Paul George found out about the Kawhi extension like everybody else did through the media. I've heard some people in the media talk about how the players are sensitive and that's not a big deal. It may not be a big deal, but if the players are sensitive, it's now a big deal. You can say, oh, he should get over it, but he didn't. He's not. So now you made a mistake. There wasn't a sign and trade out there that you liked because you weren't going to trade him to the Warriors. So they could possibly kick your back in. So you give up a lot, you don't get a ring, and you lose them for nothing. And now it seems like the Clippers are over there running a rehab clinic, signing Kevin Porter Jr., signing oh man, I can't even think of that weird boy's name. From the Spurs who was cutting up. Let me see. Spurs player sexual. So yeah, Josh Primo. Yeah, y'all signed him. And then you got my man Miles Bridges saying he likes that the Clippers are giving players a second chance. Now, I'm all about second chances because I serve a God of a second chance. You gave me a second chance. You forgave me. So I'm not mad at them for giving these guys second chances, but I would tell you optically it doesn't look great. Got a man pulling his cock out and then two men who've been accused of violently beating up women. Not a great look. Now, if they're good basketball players and they put that stuff behind them, more power to you. I'm not mad at you, Steve Ballmer. I ain't gonna tell you how to spend your money, and I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I'm above giving money to those people because I think that picking up Kevin Porter Jr. great pickup, great guy off the bench. He'll get you 17 a night. He's a bucket. So we'll see. We'll see how this works out. But yeah, the Clippers, man, they're a rehab clinic. They're the clip show. They're a shit show. And as much as I talked about nobody wanting to be a Laker, people want to be a Clipper and they don't even go as far. Now, how crazy is that? The Lakers wanted Paul George, didn't get him. He came to you. The best Laker wanted Ty Lue. Y'all didn't offer him a contract, so he went there. You all wanted Kawhi, but Kawhi didn't really want to be tied to LeBron, so he went to the Clippers. And then the Clippers still aren't as successful in the same time span as the Lakers. What does that say about your organization? The only thing I can think of is it's cursed. Or maybe you just hitching your wagon to the wrong people. Y'all could have gave Kawhi that. I'm not Kawhi. Y'all could have gave PG that 4th year. But you didn't. So now he is a Sixer. West Coast guy who moved home is now going to Philly. We'll see how this works out. I will tell you that the 76ers have the best big three in the league as we sit here right now. Then they added Andre Drummond off the bench, Eric Gordon off the bench. They re-signed Kelly Oubre. They have a chance to compete if healthy. But unfortunately, let me find the number. Paul George and Joel Embiid have not played, let's say it's 65 games. Let's see. Joel Embiid and Kawhi and Paul George have not played 60 plus games in the same season since the 2018-2019 season. So you're betting on habitually injured players to produce. Now, again, if they're healthy in May, that's all that matters. I mean, they could be a 10 seed and go on a run and get to the finals if they're healthy in May. But how do you manage that? Daryl Morey believes in getting stars. Daryl Morey has put stars together, and Daryl Morey always trots the contender out on the court, but Daryl Morey hasn't won a ring. Do you have enough depth to make it happen? Is Nick Nurse going to run the right system? Is Nick Nurse going to maximize his best players? Is he going to work the rotations in a way that you always have a combination of Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George on the court? At least two of them. Is Maxey going to be comfortable becoming the number 3 option instead of the number 2 option? Because Paul George is better than Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, he is. I don't care what. No, Paul. Yeah, come on now. Because that's what's going to happen. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what comes of it. So let's get to some more free agency stuff. Parlay Pete and I, we talked a little bit about Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks. The Knicks remaking the Villanova team. I think they're going to be a scrappy, interesting team. Again, I don't think they beat a healthy Philly. They match up well against the Celtics, but you're going to be asking your 3rd, 4th, and 5th options to get you over the hump. How does Julius Randle fit into that? I don't really know. We shall see. But it's going to be interesting, man. The East is going to be interesting because you're going to have a Giannis, healthy Giannis, hopefully coming back. A Dame that's in shape, coming back. And what else they got? And they just signed, what's my man's name? Taurean Prince. I mean, he'll be a good bench player or maybe starting 3. Who knows? Chris Paul to the Spurs. I think that's great. I think Chris Paul could get them to the play-in because he's actually going to pass Wemby the ball. He's going to run the offense, so you don't have to worry about like Keldon Johnson and Sohan and Vassell playing outside of themselves. And Wemby's production is just going to increase. He's going to be like 25, 13, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. He's going to catch a lot of oops, get a lot of easy buckets. He's going to become more of an offensive force so those other guys can become more efficient. I'm actually looking forward to watching it. I think it's going to be a much better basketball product than they put on the court this past year. And I'll watch more Wemby. But for those people who are confused about the direction that the Spurs are going in, they're trying to incrementally build. Just trying to incrementally build. Let's just get better this year. Let's get better and better. So then players are going to want to come here and play. We just can't keep being terrible, missing the playoffs, missing the play-in, drafting young players, and thinking that veteran players are going to want to come once Wemby hits his prime. That's not going to happen. And because they have Vassell signed to his contract, they have Keldon Johnson signed to another big contract. These are tradable contracts for actual star players who may want to come down there and play. So that's the thing, man. When we see these big contracts and we get confused as to why these players are signing them, sometimes it's because you need the money to trade for the guy that you truly want. And you need to be ready once that guy becomes available to make that move. Now, saying that, I don't understand why Toronto signed Emmanuel quickly and that boy and Scotty Barnes to the contracts they signed them to, because they don't make sense to me. But again, it's not my money. Because Quickly just signed a he's been a backup, but he just signed a 5-year, $175 million contract. So, I mean, 35 a year for Quickly. It's not what I would want to do, but hey, man. I think OKC's having a great off season. They bring in what's my man's name? I'm looking at him right now. Oh my God, Alex Caruso. They traded Josh Giddey, who was just not fitting in with them. They bring in a champion in Alex Caruso, all NBA defensive player, a guy who can knock down an open three, a guy who can slam a fire jammer on your head. I think that's a great move to bring in a veteran who's been there before, a guy who's won it, a guy who's learned from the likes of LeBron James. He's been around a DeMar DeRozan. He's been around some great players in this league. So he's going to bring some great veteran leadership to that locker room, but also he's going to be a hard-nosed defender. He's going to do what they need. And then to bring in Hartenstein, again, you take him away from the Knicks, but also you solidify your lineup with a legitimate five, somebody who can get in there and bang. So now Chet can be an off-ball shot blocker on defense. It's going to be beautiful, and I'm excited to see what OKC looks like. Maybe that group they have there can finally deliver a championship to OKC and validate what their GM is doing, who's been talked about as one of the best GMs in the NBA, but he doesn't have that championship. Isn't it a shame that you have great GMs like a Daryl Morey? You have great GMs like a Sam Presti who have not won a ring, but then you have a shitty GM like Rob Pelinka with one. And that speaks to so much of what the NBA is. Or you got to have great players, and more times than not, you have to be in a great city. Now, one great city who can't make it work is Atlanta. Landry Fields should be fired. Kyle Korver should be fired. And Tony Ressler should sell the team. Now, the Pelicans got what they needed. They need a point guard. And they got a point guard. And DeJounte signed an extension with Atlanta last year. We kind of figured he was going to be out of the door. But they traded DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. The Hawks traded DeJounte Murray for the Pelicans for 2 first-round picks, one in 2025, one of the Lakers picks, which isn't going to be great, and a 2027 pick, which is from their own pick or the Bucks, whichever pick is worse, for Larry Nance, EJ Liddell, and Dyson Daniels. The hell are we doing, Atlanta? What the hell are we doing? I'm not saying that you don't trade him because you see it's not working. But could you get a little bit more? Could you tell your fan base that you're trying to make positive moves in the right direction? Or is it just a fire sale? Are we just going to rid the team of the stench of the past few years? I mean, the Lakers would at least gave you D'Lo. I'm not saying Trey and D'Lo work, but D'Lo's played off ball because he plays with LeBron. D'Lo is an expiring contract, so guess what? You can move him. What the hell is Larry Nance going to do for the Hawks? What the hell is Dyson Daniels going to do for the Hawks? What the hell is EJ Liddell going to do for the Hawks? What the hell is the Lakers 2025 draft pick going to do for the Hawks? What the hell is the Bucks or New Orleans 2027 pick going to do for the Hawks? Both teams are going to be in the playoffs and not in the lottery. What are we doing? Travis Schlenk builds a team that gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, goes 6 games, no Trae Young. You move him out. You overpay for DeJounte Murray, and you trade him for a bag of peanuts, an empty Celsius can, and a box of used condoms. The hell are we doing? Do you want to maintain a fan base? Do you want to build a fan base who cares and to come to State Farm Arena, a.k.a. the Highlight Factory, and listen to Big Tigger act like he's an Atlanta sports fan? Because I don't think you do. I don't think you care. And why the hell should I spend my hard-earned money to go watch you all put this bullshit out on the court? It's a rudderless ship. It's a team with no direction. Let's go ahead and trade Trae Young to the Lakers. Let's go ahead and move and build around Rishon Sway. Let's just be terrible. Let's just be terrible. Let's just be a poorly ran franchise and let our record reflect. I don't even want to make the play-in. I don't want hope. I don't want to see Trae Young giving us 25 and 10 every night. I don't want hope. I want to see DeAndre Hunter playing. Go ahead, Trey Capella. Trey Okongwu. Just strip the team down to the studs and hope you can get Cooper Flagg or the kid who's going to Rutgers. I don't want to be 40 and 42. I don't want to win 35 games. Now, let's just become the Washington Wizards. Let's become the Sacramento Kings of most of my life. Let's be the Blazers. Let's just be god-awful. Let's be the team that nobody with league pass picks to watch. You know what? Let's just put the cheerleaders on the court. It's Atlanta. They'll watch. Let's go to Magic City and overpay for every stripper in the strip club and sign them on as free agents. Hell. We might as well just turn the Hawks into a booty club because all they're going to be doing is, because all wrestlers doing is twerking the team away. That's all that's happening. They're just twerking away. Give a damn about winning? Give a damn about building a culture? What are we watching? What are we paying for? You ain't being true to the city. You are less than 5 years removed from an Eastern Conference showing. Hell, you're 3 years removed from being in the Eastern Conference Finals. Look what the Knicks did. You put the Knicks out in the first round. Look what they've done. You put Philly out in the second round. Look what they've done. Hell, look what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing. Look what the Orlando Magic are doing. These guys are building teams. These guys are winning games. What the hell are the Hawks doing? Man, y'all took a little y'all took a canoe into the ocean, man. Your ship ain't big enough to catch a marlin. Can't catch no tuna in that little bitty boat. You're going to drown. And that's what the Hawks are doing. Drowning. All right, last thing I'm gonna talk about in basketball, probably. Well, Lonzo Ball is back, but that's not what I want to talk about. I'm actually going to trying to pull up what's it called? I'm trying to pull up WNBA All-Star game. So let's just look at some All-Star voting results for the WNBA because I do talk about the WNBA on this podcast. Last year, Asia Wilson led all voters with 95,000 votes. Caitlin Clark got 700. Bree Stewart was number 2 with 87,000. Aaliyah Boston was number 2 this year with 618,000. Brittany Griner was number 3, even though she was in penitentiary, with 72,000. Asia Wilson has 607,000. Aaliyah Boston was 4 with 72,000. And Bree Stewart has 424,000. And Jackie Young was 5 with 63,000. And now Angel Reese is 5 with 381,000. Y'all better thank Caitlin Clark, boy. Y'all better thank Angel Reese. Because good God Almighty. They're bringing viewership. They're bringing eyes. Look at how much the voting has increased. This is a beautiful thing. And it should be taken seriously. It should be taken seriously. I get it. You don't put them on the Olympic team because they weren't quote unquote good enough. Y'all bully them because they're rooks and they need to earn their stripes. They earning their stripes all right. Hell, the Indiana Shock, whatever their name is. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Let me hold on. I'm sorry. I got this right. Indiana Fever. My apologies. Indiana Fever. They having home games at Staples. First time in years that the Sparks play in Staples. They sell it out. And guess who they're rooting for? Caitlin Clark. What was it? A night or two ago, we had the Aces versus the Fever. They sell out T-Mobile 20,000 watching the game. More people at that game than went to one of the finals games. I better thank them. They got rookies playing now. Why? Because they're good, but they're also popular, and that matters. That drives revenue, and hopefully that the WNBA can become a major league that can compete. So now we have. Let me pull up. So we got the WNBA Olympic team playing against the WNBA All Stars. So let's see, WNBA All Stars. Pull this up. So July 20th, we got the All Star game. So Team WNBA is going to be DeWanna Bonner, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, top vote getter, Alicia Gray, Derica Hamby, Brianna Jones, Jonquel Jones. It's nice. Kayla McBride, Kelsey Mitchell, Arike, I ain't going to try to say her name, Neke, I ain't going to try to say her last name, and Angel Reese. They're going to face off against Nafisa Caller, Kalia Cooper, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Sabrina Nescu, Jewel Lloyd, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Alyssa Thomas, Asia Wilson, and Jackie Young. I ain't saying that this is going to be. I ain't saying Team USA gonna lose because they're not. They're gonna win. But it might be a competitive game. Because I'm just looking at it. Can't nobody get a bucket like Arike. Caitlin Clark at the point gonna finally have some basketball players with her who she can too. Aaliyah Boston's gonna do her thing. Jonquel Jones, monster, killing it. And Angel Reese is gonna grab damn near every rebound because that's what she do. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm totally looking forward to it. I mean, it's gonna be a great game. I'm not gonna gamble on it, but I'm definitely gonna watch it. What else do I have to do on July 20th? I need to put in my calendar. Remember to watch this All-Star game. But now this is a great showing for the WNBA, putting their best talent on the court. And here we have the Olympic team, getting tuned up because there's no international competition they can really play against to get them ready to play against the best of the rest of the WNBA. And I am totally looking forward to it. Hey, but that's basketball hour. I ain't even gonna call it hour one. So what are we at? We're at 1:20:15. Hey guys, it's time to do it for the culture. It's time to talk about the relevant topics in this world that matter way more than sports. Yes, I front load this show with sports, but we're going to talk about stuff that actually happens in the world. Let me pull up real quick. Well, I'm out of tequila. Take it to the head. Yeah. Don't think about it. Be about it. Don't be scared to take it to the head. That's what we do. We take it to the head. We wash it down with a little bit of Simply. Simply delectable. All right. Nasty taste up my mouth. What I want to talk about first in culture. The BET Awards. Guess what happened? I didn't watch. Guess why? I didn't know about it. What if I knew about it? Still wouldn't watch. Hate award shows. But I do think it's unfortunate that the BET Awards can't get the best and brightest. And all I saw was influencers and a lot of older people there. Some takeaways that I did get from people telling me about the BET Awards was it appeared to be funded by the DNC, pushing the values of the DNC. And shout out to the DNC for getting their names out there to ensure that the black people go vote. And I'm going to say, hey, DNC, if you want black people to vote for you, make sure that you hold up your end of the bargain and don't just use black people to get into office, but actually appeal to your black constituency. And I know you all can play on the role of, oh, the right wing is racist. Okay. That's fine. We've dealt with racism before. But are you actually going to apply our vote? Are you going to listen to our needs? Or are you just going to pimp us out so you can get in office and do what you want to do? The Usher tribute was full of women. Kind of weird. I don't know if there's an agenda at hand, but that's just weird to me. I think maybe we should have artists who were influenced by Usher and have some men up there singing those songs. But again, I didn't watch the show, so it didn't bother me because, like most of our great black celebrities, I didn't care. Rick Ross got the pause put on him in Canada, in Vancouver, because they played the instrumental of Not Like Us to end the show. Why are people able to get close enough to Rick Ross to put hands on him? Why did he not have the correct security detail to ensure that didn't happen? Why did he have not a certain level of privacy to ensure that didn't happen? That's nuts. Ross, why are you talking to these people? Why are you arguing with these people? You're the biggest boss. But more importantly, not more importantly, Ross, more importantly, people, why y'all fighting because he played a song? Oh, he disrespecting our GOAT. Who cares? Who cares? Y'all fighting because he beefing with Drake and he played a Drake diss record? I'm going to beat you up. What does that do? That's so dumb. Like, maybe because I'm not a fighter, stuff like this just doesn't resonate with me the way it resonates with y'all. But I just think that's stupid. Guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to fight for the honor of my favorite rapper just because he's my favorite rapper. I'm not going to fight for somebody because he's my countryman. I'm not going to be like, oh, I've been heavily influenced by Atlanta rap, and I'm going to beat up this artist because he disrespected Future. What the hell do I look like doing some dumb shit like that? That don't even make sense. Like, I don't know. Do y'all even know Drake? Is Drake giving y'all a bag for this? If there's a lawsuit, is Drake gonna cover your expenses? Had you gone to jail, was he gonna bail you out, give you his top-notch lawyers to make sure that the charges don't stick? Or y'all just fight for the honor of another man? I'm not gonna fight for somebody because he's my countryman. I'm not gonna be like how stupid are you to fight for the honor of another man? Oh, you disrespected this person who I'm a fan of, so I'm gonna beat you up. Some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand it. I can't understand it. And I'll never try to understand it. Because I can't care about somebody who I don't know that well to do that. And maybe they know him. And then I'll say, I can't care about nobody enough that I know that somebody playing an instrumental to a song disrespect them, that I'm going to fight them. The song still got played. The song was still made. We all listen to it. They not like us. They not like us. Yeah, they not like us. Now, if you say Ross was stupid for going to Drake's country and playing that, yeah, sure. Male ego. Get his point across. But the whole thing was stupid. Hey, man, get these peons away from me. Get the peons out of my face. But what do I know? It's not my life. Ain't nobody out here putting out diss tracks on me. I ain't putting out diss tracks on nobody. I ain't important enough for that. I tell you, boy, somebody put out a diss track on me, I'm gonna go big act on them. I'm just gonna start the stream and I'm just going let that thing go. Pause if necessary. Ain't nobody gonna talk crazy about me. But if you talk crazy about me, I'm just gonna talk crazy about you. I'm not gonna fight you. It don't change your mind. You still feel the way that you feel. Oh, but if you touch them up, then they already gonna know not to talk. So what? I'm not changing their mind. And if you're saying things about me that are true that I maybe just don't want somebody else to know, well, I gotta live with that. What Eminem said, I got some skeletons in my closet. Yeah, we all got skeletons in our closet. And if somebody pull them out, okay, well, now you gotta look at the dead body. You gotta face it head on. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You tell me. So I just think the whole thing was just idiotic. I think it was ignorant. I think it was stupid. But again, I'm not from the streets. I ain't into none of that hood politics nonsense. So I don't know, man. But I tell you what, I do miss 2010's rap. I really miss 2010's rap. I think that was like just the best era of rap. I mean, you still got an active Gucci Mane, you still got an active Future. You got, I mean, not active Future. You got an up and coming Future. You got an active Jeezy. You got the Migos. You still got Travis Porter, man. You had Big Sean. You had 2 Chainz. You had Drake. Jay-Z was still rapping. Kanye was still rapping, bro. You had all of these just great rappers putting out music, and we were in a place to where artists weren't making more money outside of music. I mean, shit, Wiz Khalifa was still giving us Cabin Fever and Cabin Fever 2 and so on and so forth. 28 grams. We still had that, but now it's just like you motherfuckers got famous, rich, and smart with their money and their investments. Now they making more money outside of rap. So the rap has actually gotten watered down because the people who are the best at it, they done made their money off of it, and they're not making money elsewhere. Yeah, I'm just a fan who's complaining and upset and wishing that we would get more from our artists. Yeah, that's what I want. I just want my favorite artists to continue making music. Boy, my whole pregame was early 2000s. Or excuse me, early 2010s. Some Chief Keef to some Big Sean verses to some 2 Chainz. All of that stuff, man, that was good music. And I wish we still had that, man. I still wish we had the diversity that we had in rap. See, I wish these rappers wasn't making so much money outside of music, or they sold their soul to the devil like Drake, so they have to continue to make music, to continue to make money, and to continue to tour. That's what I want. I want to hear from my favorite artists, selfishly. Now, mind you, I understand if they're not in a space to create good music, they don't want to be that. Who am I to tell them to get into the studio? Who am I to tell them, hey, you need to spend all this time and spend all this money to get this return when you can do something that is easier, takes way less time to get what you're looking for? If that's the case, yeah, man, get paid, young nigga, get paid. But damn, man, can you rap a little bit, please? I mean, please. But before we get into some political talk, got to get into my new favorite segment. Just got to find a post. Just got to find a post. That ain't. Bitch, that shit I don't like. Here we go.
Taylor Swift and how she's not a good role model because she's unmarried and doesn't have children, despite all of her incredible accomplishments. But it is just a good reminder that no matter who you are, you could be an international superstar. And men will still have the audacity to be like, you know what? I don't think my 12-year-old should look up to her because she has dated 12 men. Like, we have lost our minds. And I just want to say, Taylor Swift is being talked about this way. So you will never escape it. Just live your life and love yourself. And if you obsess about trying to appease society, you will just never be happy because Taylor Swift, it's Taylor. Okay? Like, what can we do? We can't do it. We can't escape it.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, shut the fuck up.
All right. There's so many angles I want to take with this. So for starters, Taylor Swift shouldn't be a role model. I stand with Charles Barkley. I'm not a role model. Taylor Swift's job is not to be a role model for your children. So for those of you who are expecting Taylor Swift to be a role model, well, y'all are idiots. And y'all deserve whatever you get. The idea of living your life and not worrying about what people say because you'll never be good enough for everybody, I stand with that. Be your best you. Now make sure in being your best you are accomplishing the goals in life that you want to accomplish. Because if you're not being the best you, but you know, you ain't got to live up to society's standards. But here's where I actually just want to say,
oh, shut the fuck up.
It's Joy. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. Let me mansplain to you real quick. Do you know how many men catch the same flack for the lives that they lead? Oh, he's not a great role model. And guess what? If a woman wants to be a wife, a mother, a nurturer, Taylor Swift isn't a good role model. Now, if you want to be a singer, you want to be an international superstar, oh man, she's a hell of a role model because that's what she is. But when it comes to being a traditional woman, she's not that. That's okay. I'm not asking her to be that. I'm asking Taylor Swift to be whoever the hell Taylor Swift wants to be. I could care less what Taylor Swift does. I don't listen to her music. I know she dates Travis Kelce because I'm a football fan, and that's how I find out about it. And every freaking blog takes it and runs with it, whether it's a sports page or entertainment page. Why? Because it gets clicks, attention, and comments. But it sounds like that's all you want to do with your content is get clicks, attention, and comments. And guess what? I'm giving you what you want. What Dirk said, this ain't what you want. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you because always trying to make something men versus women, that's disgusting. That's nasty work. Lacking, failing to provide context in these situations, that's nasty work. Are you really only doing this for clicks, likes, and subscribes? Or are you actually trying to have a fruitful conversation that advances the status of human beings, or for you, more importantly, that advances the status of women, advances the respect for women? Because doing it this way is not going to do that. Because oftentimes it's going to be received by people who are going to be combative, people who are going to be defensive, or people who are like me are just going to be wrong. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has everything to do with her being famous. That's why you're talking about her. That's why you chose Taylor Swift as a topic. And the funny thing is, maybe it's my algorithm, but when we hear the outlandish anti-man stuff that spews from that podcast, it only comes from you.
Ho, shut the fuck up.
It's just every single time.
That shit I don't like.
That's that shit I don't like. Shut up. Maybe, no. Don't shut up. Take that back. Talk less. No. I take that back. Talk smarter. Talk about when someone is famous, when someone is filthy rich, that people are going to poke at them because of their success. People are going to look at their lives and say that doesn't marry up with what I think life should look like. So I'm going to have something to say. Don't say that just because you're a woman, no matter how great you are, no matter how successful you are, you're still going to get criticized. Because that's not the case. That's not the case one bit. She's just getting criticized because people don't have lives. They don't have anything better else to do with their time. Let me tell you my criticism of Taylor Swift's life. Exactly. I have none. I don't know her life. I don't know her. And I don't care enough to talk about it. But I do care enough to talk about women, especially black women, or women who identify as black, because, I mean, you are biracial, and I don't want to disrespect who you are. I just want to disrespect what you say, because what you say is just a load of bullshit, you know. I can just keep playing the drop.
Ho, shut the fuck up.
I can just keep doing this all day long because what you're saying doesn't add value to the human race. It doesn't add value to your viewership. It adds no value. It's just nonsense. It's not because she's a damn woman. And for those out there who says she's not a role model because of the life that she's chose to lead, they can say that. Believe it or not, somebody can look at one's life and say that, guess what? I don't think you're living life the way that it should be lived. We can disagree with them, but they're not wrong. Let's see, how old is Taylor Swift? Let me just cord out my way. Let's just see how old she is. Taylor Swift. Sorry. Ooh. Taylor Swift is 34 years old. Doesn't have a kid, doesn't have a husband. She has a boyfriend. Maybe they get a kid out of that. Or maybe she says, you know what? I'm on top of the world and I don't have time to be a mom. Some will say, hey, that's selfish. You should reproduce. You should be a parent. And I'm going to say you should do whatever the hell you want. But I also say the criticism that comes to you is because you're rich and famous and people are haters, not because you're a woman. That's stupid. Like, just think about it. She can get that, like, she can get that take off because she has a podcast, but she couldn't get that take off in a conversation with people. You get you try to get that shit off and say, hey, well, no one likes her because she's a woman. They're gonna say,
Hey, ho, shut the fuck up.
got way too much of my mental. I've got way too much of my mental to hear this nonsense you're talking about, man. Shut up. Just shut up and talk. Yeah. I know. Don't make sense. But that's what Joy Taylor is. That's who she's become. And honestly, I think she's become a caricature of herself. And sadly, she has a large following. She has a huge fan base, and people want to hear what the hell she has to say. And me being one of those people so that I can come on here and try to right the record. Let's get it correct for the record. No, her criticism becomes of her fame and her success, not because of her gender, her sex, which however y'all want to put it, that's not. Stop it, man. Stop it. All right, man. So let's get to some more serious topics. There's a few things that have happened in the world that I think are important to talk about. And I came across this post on Instagram from this page called So Informed. I'm actually gonna give them a follow. And it talked about U.S. news that you might have missed this week. 62 House Democrats joined 207 Republicans in a vote to conceal the death toll in Gaza. Representatives have voted to effectively conceal the death tolls from Israel's genocide in Gaza. On Thursday, lawmakers voted 269 to 144 on an amendment to prohibit State Department from citing statistics from the Gaza Health Ministry. The measure is a part of the annual State Department appropriations bill. It was led by Democratic representatives Jared Moskowitz, Josh Gottheimer, and Representatives Joe Wilson, Mike Lawler, and Carol Miller. In total, 62 Democrats joined 207 Republicans in supporting the amendment. And this is why people don't trust our elected officials the way we once did. I had a conversation with my wife last night, and we talked about the importance of transparency, trust, and respect in our relationship. Because if we have those three things, we can continue to build a better, more positive relationship. And I think these three things apply so well to our relationship with our elected officials. Transparency, let us know what's going on. Trust, we trust that you're going to make the best decisions for us. And respect, don't have me out here looking stupid. Why are you stopping the State Department from publishing those numbers? What are you trying to hide? Let us have a more clear and a full understanding of what's going on over there so that when we go to the ballot in November, we click the right button. We select the right individuals, those who have our best interests at heart, because our tax dollars go to fund those operations. There's a chance that we can send troops over there. I'm sure we have people as representatives of the United States of America over there. Let us make those decisions for what we think is best for our country. Don't hide the information from us. No. We deserve that transparency because we've put a lot of trust into you and we want some respect. But that is going to be in a theme of this thing of these political topics is we want the TTR, transparency, trust, and respect, because we trust you to make decisions, but we want some transparency. And when we don't have the trust and the transparency, there is no respect. Because if you don't respect me enough to give me some transparency, how can I trust you? I'm not saying you tell us everything, but why are you hiding a death toll? Are you accepting the death toll that Israel gives you, but not letting us see the death toll that comes from Gaza? It's a bit odd for me, and I don't really like how that sits. Next one. Oklahoma's top education official ordered public schools to incorporate Christian Bible into lessons for grades 5 to 12. Oklahoma's top education official ordered public schools Thursday to incorporate the Bible into lessons for grades 5 through 12. The latest effort by conservatives to incorporate religion in the classrooms, the directive sent Thursday to superintendents across the state by Republican State Superintendent Ryan Walters, says adherence to the mandate is compulsory and immediate, and strict compliance is expected. The Bible is an indispensable historical and cultural touchstone, Walters said in a statement. Without basic knowledge of it, Oklahoma students are unable to properly contextualize the foundation of our nation, which is why Oklahoma educational standards provide for its instruction. The directive is the latest effort by conservative-led states to target public schools. Louisiana required them to post the Ten Commandments in classrooms, while others pressure to teach the Bible and ban books and lessons about race, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Earlier this week, the Oklahoma Supreme Court blocked an attempt by the state to have the country's first publicly funded religious charter school. A former public school teacher who was elected to his post in 2022, Walters ran on the platform of fighting woke ideology, banning books from school libraries, and getting rid of radical leftists who claims the indoctrination of children in classrooms. Okay, man, this is loaded. Our country was built on separation of church and state. So to me, this is unconstitutional. It doesn't matter what I believe. I went to private school, Christian-based private school. I went to public school. I am a Christian. I believe in God. I go to church. I think that there are important values that come from the Bible that can apply to anybody in any walk of life. I don't care what God you serve. You can learn from the Bible. But I also believe that I can learn from other holy texts. But bringing the Bible into school, having the Ten Commandments posted in the classrooms, I think that's a step too far. Because now this is saying that, hey, no, this religion, the Christian religion, is involved in state. And yes, our country was built on Christian values. Yes, our country was built by believers of the word, but that does not mean that we have to force that word in the classroom. I'm not against teaching classes based on the Bible as electives, but I don't think the Bible should be used as a fact-based educational tool for all people. And I may be wrong, and that's the conversation for me and God to have, but not for me and you. I think it's absolutely insane that we're going to go to ban books and we're going to force everybody to beat the Bible. No, that's what private schools are for. If a parent wants their child to receive that form of education, let them pay for it. And maybe we should look at providing public charter schools that allow this, so that if a student is interested, or a parent wants that type of teaching for their child, but they can't afford the private school, they can still get that. But I'd say to those parents, we'll teach it at home, put them in church. I learned a lot about the Bible at church. When I went to private school, I learned a lot about it at school, but I also learned it at church. And I'm not against, if we're just looking at like fundamentally, I'm not against having God in schools, but based on the laws of this land, that's not the type of country that we were trying to build. So therefore, I disagree. I disagree with book banning. Now, I'm not with grooming. I'm not with some of the things that would lead a child to believe they're not who they were born as. If that's what you do as an adult, have at it. But I don't know if that ideology should be forced on children, but I also don't think that the ideology of the Bible should be forced on children in school. That's something that should happen in the home. Parents should have that choice. And I think that we talk about schools having too much control over our children's lives, taken away from what parents are supposed to do. I think that is something a parent is supposed to do. So when that child becomes an adult, or that child becomes of sound mind to make their own decisions, they're allowed to make that decision. Let's see, I don't want to talk about that one. No, I don't want to talk about that one. Okay, and this kind of goes in the same ballpark. DeSantis cut more than $32 million in arts funding across Florida, citing sexual festivals. Governor Ron DeSantis cited sexual festivals in Florida and Orlando. No, that's the one I wanted to. Here we go. South Carolina will impose draconian censorship on school libraries. On Tuesday, the South Carolina State Board of Education imposed a centralized, expansive censorship regime on every K-12 school library in the state. The new regulations could result in the banning of most classic works of literature from South Carolina schools, from Canterbury Tales to Romeo and Juliet and Dracula. What are we doing there, man? We talked about transparency, trust, and respect, but when you start censoring stuff, you take that away. Give the kids the opportunity to enjoy this literature and not, I'm not saying you got to put it in the curriculum. If you don't believe it should be in the curriculum, that's fine. Strip it from the curriculum. But don't take it away from the libraries. For some students, the school library is their only access to literature. They may not have a ride to the public library. They may live too far from the public library. It may not be convenient for their lives or their parents' lives. Hell, as an athlete and somebody who worked in high school, I didn't have time to go to the library. Because by the time I got out of practice, closed. Go to work on Saturday. By the time I get off, closed. But now we're going to censor the school library. Knowledge is power. And our young people deserve to receive knowledge. And contextualize it properly. Should a 9, 10-year-old be reading Romeo and Juliet? Probably not. But can a 17-year-old read it? Yeah. I think conservative politicians have gotten so caught up on fighting this quote-unquote woke agenda that they're going to cut their nose to spite their faces. Don't force me to follow you. Give me the tools and the opportunity to learn. Give me the tools and the opportunity to learn so I can make my own decisions. And not a decision that's guided by the decision you want me to make, but a decision that's guided by my own information. Don't keep me away from information. There's a difference between fiction and nonfiction. And maybe we should teach that. Maybe we should teach that, hey, no, this is not real. This is a figment of your imagination, but it's still interesting. These are great books. These children deserve this knowledge. I'm telling you, I started reading Shakespeare at the 5th grader. But that didn't mean I did everything that I read. It was just information. And as a continuous learner, just because I learned something when I was 7 doesn't mean that I follow it now. Just because I learned something when I was 17 doesn't mean I follow it now. Just because I learned something when I was 27 doesn't mean I follow it now. And guess what? When I'm 42, just because I learned something when I was 37 doesn't mean that's what I'm going to follow now. It's just an avenue to information. And lastly, as I close out, the Supreme Court ruled that presidents have immunity in any actions that they take in official capacity as president. Initially, I didn't like this. I thought it was a conservative court trying to protect a president that they want. But then the more and more I read, the more and more I thought about it, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think that because we're now in a world where politicians will use the legal system against their competition, not because their competition necessarily violated laws or crossed into an area that we deem unacceptable in their position, but just have a means to rebel against them. I don't think that's okay. And because I don't think that's okay, if we're going to provide that protection for presidents, we should. Now, with that, I think Kerry Washington had a great post today on social media where she, hold on, let me find it. Okay, I got to chill out with these fireworks, bro. Where she said, if a person who is a convicted felon can still run for president, then we should be removing that box from job applications. I totally agree. You can't be in the military as a convicted felon, but the commander in chief can be one. You can't be in the military as a convicted felon, but those who create your budget can be. It's not fair. But there's no such thing as fair, right? It's not right. My boss should not hold me to a standard that he or she can't hold himself to. If we don't think convicted felons can hold a job in the military, if we think that's the deterrent for them holding any job in the private sector, then how can we say it's okay for a convicted felon to hold the most important job in this country? I understand we're proud to be Americans, where at least we know we're free. But with our freedom comes rules and regulations. With our freedom comes standards. And if we're not upholding that standard, then what the hell are we doing? If you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.